Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome. My name is Heather, and on this channel we like to walk a very fine line between a shopping addicted makeup monster and a responsible adult with a makeup hobby. Now, I really enjoy eyeshadow singles, duochromes, multichromes, blush, highlight, lip gloss, basically everything except pressed glitter, and today we're going to be doing a ranking of all of my Oden's eye palettes. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, stick with me, we're getting into it right now. So in honor of the new Oden's eye palettes coming out, which I did order and have not yet received, literally, I ordered them yesterday. It's not their fault. I have 13 other Oden's eye eyeshadow palettes, and I thought it would be fun to rank them. So we're going to start with number 13, and that is the Alva II eyeshadow palette. This one I got in a mystery box, and it looks like this. And the reason why I ranked it so low is because of these two pressed glitters. Because the pressed glitters are in this palette, I find myself never reaching for this palette. It is a gorgeous palette. I love the blues in here, the greens, like these two rows, gorgeous, stunning, 10 out of 10. But because these pressed glitters are in here, I just never think to get into this palette. So I had to rank it pretty low because of that. Next is the Solmane eyeshadow palette. This is the original Solmane before they did kind of their rebrand, if you will, which you'll see the rebranded palettes coming up here soon. But this palette, I picked it up because Battybean had a really good experience with it, and she did this really pretty look using this purple and in this shade here. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I like mutilated the shade trying to get it to not hard pan so that I could actually use it for an eye look, and it's mixed success. Like, I can kind of get some color off of it, but like getting it onto my lids is all but impossible. So this one ranked really low, one because it's the old formula, and two because it just doesn't perform the way I wanted it to. Coming up next is the Chapter 2 Cat with a Golden Carriage from the Saga of Freja palettes. And this is the one that looks kind of like the Taco Bell colors. But yeah, so I picked this up because I saw some really, really pretty eye looks with these three metallic shades. And I'm like, yes, I want to pick those up and do those eye looks too. And I picked it up and I did an eye look with it and I thought it was pretty. But then I don't find myself coming back to this because I'm not a huge fan of these like burnt orangey kind of shades. So like these four shades get kind of lost on me, and I don't know, it sits in my collection. I really like it. I don't want to get rid of it, but also I never use it. Then coming up next, I have a couple of palettes that just the color story kind of throws me a little bit. The first of which is the Tina the Fancy Face Oden's Eye collab Humingbird palette, and I know she did this inspired by like the colors in, I think Jamaica is where she's from originally. So I get why she did the color story she did. I do really like this duochrome shade, and this multichrome is really pretty. Let me see. I don't know if you guys will be able to see like all the different colors on that. Kind of, sort of. But yeah, it's beautiful, beautiful color story. Yeah, there you can definitely see. Let me see. Can I get a mirror? Yeah, you can definitely see it that way. So you can see it has a really pretty multichrome. I do really like it, but the rest of the color story, like the mattes and metallics together, I struggle to like mix to put on my lids. So fell a little lower. And then same thing for the palette. Planet Spirit palette from Battybean. Now I love Battybean. She's super, super creative with her eye looks. So as soon as she announced that she was doing a palette, I was like, I gotta get it. And I do like some of the shades, like this Fauna shade. Oh my god, it's another multi-chrome. It's really, really beautiful. And you can see it here on this like lower swatch. And it goes from like pink to orange to gold to like lime green at like an extreme angle. Very, very beautiful inner corner highlight or lid shade. And I do like kind of the pinky shades in here, but again, these like orange and green shades I just don't gravitate to as much. This like center Taco Bell part of things. Everything else in here I really like. So coming in at number 8, this is the Red Dragon palette from Judy and Oden's Eye, of course. and it looks like this. Now this one I really like. There's something kind of like calming about this palette, despite the fact that it's like fire and dragons. I just love the way the color story is like cohesive. You do have multiple colors represented here, but they all flow so nicely together. This shade is like a beautiful soft multi-chrome green, grungy, pukey brown kind of shade. Very, very beautiful. I love this shade as well. And then this super bright poppy red I really enjoy. So that one came up a little higher for that reason. Coming in at number 7, this is the like honorable mention at the number 7 spot. This is the original Alva palette, and I think this is a really beautiful color story. This shade in particular is what really drew me in. It's like this soft lilac-y lavender with like purple and gold sparkles in it. Very beautiful. Now, if you look closely, or maybe not that closely, you can see that I have not used this palette yet, and it's because I have so many palettes I'm trying to work through and try out right now, and I keep buying new ones every day. But I do really like this color story, and I think honestly because this is a huge like mauvey pinky shades are a huge part of what I like about makeup, I had to rank this one kind of in the middle because I know that I would really like the quality for that one. So coming in at number 6, this is the Norns palette. So these are the goddesses of past, present, and future, and the color story looks like this. I love that Oden's Eye does these kind of like funky color stories. Like, yes, some of them I struggle a little bit with as like an individual palette, but as a companion palette, they're great. And I love the colors that they picked out in this one. For example, they have this like platinum bronzy kind of color that has gold and silver in it, which I think is beautiful. This pink chameleon shade is actually a multi-chrome, which I did not realize until I owned the palette for quite some time. The duochrome shades down here, super gorgeous, and I love this kind of like olivey green sparkly shade. So overall, there's a lot of really cool like pops of color in this particular palette. You've got a lot of nice depth in here, which I really like, and then I really, really like this kind of mauvey shade. So it came up a little higher because of that. Okay, now we're getting into the tough ones. So number 5, right? Yeah, number 5. This is the Oden's Eye and Makeup Just for Fun Floral Story palette. And it looks like this, super beautiful. And I put this one down a little bit lower because I think this is like a more expected color story. Now this is Makeup Just for Fun to a T. Like this is literally her in a palette because purples and greens are her favorite things. And I love this really pretty multi-chrome shade in here. This like minty kind of shade is also very, very beautiful. I feel like these mattes and these two mattes, even though they look very different in the pan, they don't necessarily look super different on the eyes. So it kind of fell down a little bit for that for me. But overall, I think this is a really pretty palette. So it came up pretty high anyway. Coming in at number 4 is the Lauren Mae Beauty Sea Talk palette, which I was super excited to try out, and it looks like this. You guys, the first look that I did with this palette, I actually used these 2 neutral shades. Like, who am I? I don't know. Check for pods. But I really like this color story. This pink with like a blue duochrome is super, super pretty. I love the blues that are in here. This is the only one I haven't tried yet, the Sea Spray shade. Everything else in here is gorgeous. Even this like chartreusey shade I think works really well with the blues that are in this palette. So overall, very, very happy with that one. So it made it up to number 4. Coming in at number 3 is the Oden's Eye and Annette's Makeup Corner Giant Wolves palette. And this one is just like a dark winter fantasy. Like you've got olivey greens, you've got some fuchsia purples, you've got some blues. There's a beautiful multi-chrome in here that you can definitely see kind of shifts. Pink is like the primary color, but then it shifts to a lot of other colors as well. I think these other metallics are also very complementary. You can make some really beautiful smoky looks with this palette. So overall, it came up really, really high because I think it's very creative and it's a high quality palette. Coming in at number 2, this is the highest ranking non-collab palette that I have from Oden's Eye, and it is the Solmane II, and it looks like this. I love this palette. It is so, so pretty. All these blue shades, these purples. This shade in the center, Starry Sky, has this like beautiful, like metallic, almost iridescent quality. And it just has like such a beautiful sparkle to it. Like you can just see it's like wet skin sparkle. Oh, Every time I use this palette, I have to use that color because that color is just my jam. Why does my camera keep focusing on my background? I don't know. Yeah, so I really like the blues in here. Purples in here are also very nice. And I kind of like how these two shades here, these two mattes, they are definitely like warmer colors, but in like a more muted way, that it doesn't feel like boring neutral kind of shades. So overall, I think this palette works really well together. I love the color story. The packaging is probably one of my least favorites from Oden's Eye. I like the suns and moons, but all the like purple, orange, green, like all the warm colors and the cool colors kind of feel a little clashy to me. But otherwise, I like the sort of celestial iridescent cover. And then coming in at number 1, we all knew where this was going to end up, but this is the Oden's Eye and Angelica Nyqvist Hela palette, and it looks like this. I was ranking them on the floor today and shoved my fingernail in that one, so go me. I love all the kind of nice grungy greeny yellow shades. I like this kind of like peachy shimmer shade mixed with these two pinks, and then this sparkly black sends me. I love this shade so much. There's a beautiful iridescent multi-chrome over here as well. Overall, packaging is a win, color story is a win. There's not a single dud shade in this palette. So I had to make it all the way to number 1. Now with that said, let me know like your top 3 or your top number 1 top pick from Oden's Eye. I would really like to hear from you. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe before you go, and I'll catch you in my next one.